go.
Thank you, Mayor, for that break.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for asking.
I just need to get some circulation back on my knees.
Well, you know, we need to be careful about all those little bit of items. So I need a motion to reconvene.
Move to reconvene.
Thank you. All right, let's go to 10. All in favor? Thank you. Under 10 questions, Councillor Bangry, you have quite a few questions here. The swimming pool, you have the airport, and
Okay,
another item.
under the last minutes, we had the RCP report, and Councillor People brought up the idea that there was a sign that the post office had posted on graffiti.
Yeah.
That's why they were closing the post office early. Can I ask what has happened with that sign? Have they redone it?
A good question. I do not have the answer. Maybe administration has it.
I haven't gone over what specifically. We sent them the letter. Yeah, you signed it, that's
Yes.
right. They phoned us just to get some clarification, so we discussed the intent of council of the letter, and frankly, kind of had to leave it with them to do with it what they would at that point, but has anyone been in or noticed?
The sign is down.
Oh, okay.
Okay, well, that's good. So that is this one taken care of. The swimming pool, you want to address this question?
I'd rather do the airport bylaw,
Yes, please, go ahead.
1633. You've asked for the airport committee and myself to put together a different bylaw or policy or operational procedure, whatever. This will not happen until September because they're recessed through the summer.
Which is fine.
So if I might, so that you and I are on the same page.
Yes.
I intend to draft the lease agreement
Oh, good.
for you guys to review before that meeting.
Okay.
So I'll give you that for them to look over first.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And the third, the swimming pool?
Yes.
Down here.
I've had several phone calls over this past weekend over the swimming pool. We have got some real disgruntled citizens
Because?
because we're closing down the pool on the busiest day of our Heritage Days. And we're closing it down at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And then it's going into a private party. And then the private party has got 8 people in it, 2 lifeguards and so forth. And they're saying, hey, the citizens of Carson built that pool. The citizens of Carson should have, you know, access to that pool during lighted hours or whatever. And pool rentals, and I know we discussed this before, pool rentals need to come after 8 o'clock at night,
Okay.
regardless.
So,
Then the second question was, and I had a real irate phone call with this, is a mother said, how come the dipping buckets are not operational?
I
She
saw that
was
operating.
told that they were not operational because the wind was blowing, and when the wind blows, it splashes the water on the lifeguard.
Oh,
Boo-hoo.
I saw them
I
in
suspect you may
action.
have been talking to somebody who was talking to somebody who was talking to somebody.
Because I saw them yesterday going quite nicely. I saw them.
This was on
I saw them
Saturday.
on Heritage Day going
Yeah.
quite
this was on
happily.
Tuesday day.
Jeff, do you want to talk about those items?
I can't speak to the second one, I simply don't know.
I saw them
I don't know.
original, but whatever.
I can
Maybe they
inquire.
were not.
Yeah, I can inquire. The first piece, we've discussed this quite at length, that schedule
Yeah.
for public swim. We did know that there was a couple of those on Heritage Day on Saturday in that afternoon evening. We moved things around, so I think we had 7 hours of public swim on Heritage Day.
11 to 5.
No, it's, oh yeah, we started right after the parade because the kids were in the,
Yeah.
that's right, we had 6
11 to
hours.
5.
Yes, correct.
That was
Yeah,
down
because
to
the kids did a float in the parade, that's why. So yeah, we ended up getting 6 hours of public swim on Heritage Day, which is fairly consistent with what we normally have for the amount of public swim. The hours were a little different though. But I think that's the end of obscure rentals for the year, I believe.
Okay, so from here on,
It's Fridays and Saturdays at 8:30, which continues to enrage people, so you probably get calls, but that's what it is.
right,
Now, Jeff, help me understand. When you rent the pool as a private party,
Yeah.
what all comes with that pool rent? Do you have the availability of lifeguards?
But you must, no question.
Okay,
Case law not to.
and if that's the case, does your pool rental cover the cost of the lifeguards?
Yes, and it's graduated, so if you're expecting X amount of people, then you have more lifeguards and you pay a higher rate.
Okay.
So there is a cost recovery there.
Oh, we make money
We
in
make
rentals,
money,
for sure. And to be frank, and I want to say this carefully, we sell a lot of season passes, and those people can use those passes all year. But we would make more per hour on a private rental than we would during public swim per hour.
Yeah.
You know, but that's not what we're striving for.
No,
It's just
it's a
simply,
public swimming
there was
pool.
private rentals. We still have 90% of the time probably accessible to the public with passes. Or for
So
paying
what are those
restaurants.
rental times going to be in the future?
Well, I can't speak to what they'll be next year because we thought we're gonna have to rethink it. The public just didn't get this whole notion of if it's not rented, it's public swim. That just didn't go over. We were trying to maximize public swim, but there was too much
We were
dissonance
trying
with the
to
public.
add public swim,
Yeah,
but the
people felt we were
people
taking it away.
felt we were taking it away. So, or they need to be explained that a different way.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe
Doug's put
that's what
together
it
a
is.
proposed schedule for next year. He's told me he has one. I haven't seen it yet, but we'll look at just having exclusive rental times, and if no one's renting it, the pool will be empty.
Yeah,
So-
which is a shame.
Then Jeff, then on our schedules, we're gonna have an adult swim early in the morning, we're gonna have a mother.
Yeah, all those things
swim
already-
Through the.
Yeah,
through
Those
the
already
morning.
exist.
You can go to the pool from 6 or 5:30 or 6 a.m. till 8:30 p.m., 9 p.m.
Okay.
Or if you want to go to Aquasides, I think you can go later than that.
There's a lot of
But
program,
there's
a lot
programming.
more that has
Yeah.
been in the past.
Yeah, there's a lot of. programming.
And I think, for the most part, I would say the comments that I have heard have been extremely positive towards the pool. There are a few disgruntled customers, I won't deny that, but I would say the majority of the people using the pool are extremely happy with our pool.
Oh, I agree
And
with you
feel
there.
very, very grateful to have a new facility.
I agree with you, but there is some
Well,
tweaking that we need to.
Yes, tweaking, we always try to do better.
Okay.
Any more questions?
Yes, I have one question about the swimming pool, just of interest. How are we doing financially with the pool?
Well, did you see the financial? Right now, we are about a differential of $10,000 in a hole. So,
That's not bad.
well, it's what it shows here.
Is that over last year?
Oh, compared to what we budgeted for revenue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Right
I thought you were
now.
saying
Because we
revenue
lose
versus
100 grand a
expenses.
year.
It was only
No.
10,000.
Right now, as we speak,
Oh.
as of the June 2015
Okay.
financial report, there's $10,000 more expense than there is revenue right now, which is not surprising.
Oh, so if I can speak to that.
Yeah.
That would not include labor.
Okay.
Yeah, because I was gonna say the difference is gonna end up being $100,000.
Well, I would say we always in a
Yeah.
whole $100,000
Yeah.
after the revenues have been taken care of.
Yeah.
But right now, as it
Yeah,
stands in
okay.
your financial
Yeah.
report.
So we anticipate to exceed revenue budget. At the end of June, we were almost at budget. We were really close.
Yeah.
Now, most of our revenue there is front-loaded. So it's passes and swimming lessons and all those things. So it's predominantly front-loaded revenue. The only revenue left for the year is Rush Swim, which is $2 at a time or $3 at a time. So we anticipate exceeding revenue budget by probably a few $1,000s.
Yeah. Anyway, you cannot make money on a public facility.
You can tell people would continue to subsidize it until $100,000.
Yeah, essentially, it's what it is, over what, 5 months? Okay, 3 months. Correspondence. You can see there's quite, no, Councillor, you had another question.
Yeah, I was
You had a question
I wanted to
on
talk
the
about-
asphalt
about the
road.
asphalt that
Well,
was
let's go to
in
this.
West Whitepath. I wanted to, I mean, I drove down and I had a resident contact me and it was matter and hat or the condition of the road. And so I drove down it and to me it was terrible. I'm just wondering, is that a complete road? Is that
No.
finished?
What,
No.
did you drive down it
So that-
before
that is
Heritage
a-
Week?
that-
Before Heritage
I
Week?
just drove down it today.
So they
I mean,
made
I've
it
driven
for
down it
today.
lots of times.
Okay,
You know, I drove down today and I was just concerned about the number of potholes still there, the amount of, there's lots of places that weren't covered, I realized it was graded and stuff, but I didn't think it was very good quality what I saw.
So first of all, it's not asphalt, it's dust abatement. That's all it is. It's a dust abatement. It's not intended to be an asphalt. It's not a hard top. It's dust abatement. So it's a significant difference.
Okay.
So we need to be cognizant of that. But second of all, the company that supplies the oil was able to come down the first part Monday or Tuesday of last week. So they put the first tanker of oil on it last week, recognizing that there's still some spots that need covering. So you're going to see that maybe even tomorrow, because they won't do it when it's hot. It will be graded back up into a center windrow. And then it'll have some more oil applied, it'll be mixed, and it's going to be packed again. It's dust abatement that's always a work in progress. So that's
So
important.
it's never going to be quality.
Well, it's never going to be, well, I shouldn't say
It's never
never.
going to be
This
an
year,
asphalt.
it's not going to be paved.
Yeah.
And for many years, I don't see it being paved. But it isn't asphalt, and I think people need to realize that. It's
Yeah,
dust
and maybe that's what we need to communicate, because the people up there are thinking that they're getting a better road than what they're getting.
They've had a gravel road since the beginning of time.
Yeah.
I don't know why the expectation is you're getting asphalt this year.
Yeah.
No.
I'm not sure. Are we talking about everyone that lives on the county or the 3 people in town that live on it? I'm just curious.
I need to understand, so that.
Yeah, it's just dust abatement. You will see them work on it again in the very near future, because they were a little stretched for the amount of oil in the tank that came down. But we didn't want to leave it non-packed for Heritage Week, obviously, right? So they graded it out, packed it, and then it will be worked again and more oil will be applied.
Okay.
But we probably, like you, if I had to take a guess, it's a 2-year dust abatement fix. You know, probably something like that.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
seems to be what we're seeing on that road due to the heavy
So it'll turn
traffic.
back into gravel and dust.
It's about what's happened every 2 years.
Yeah.
And I guess this question was brought up once before, but what would it cost to pave that?
We have a Tallstrip, we asked Tallstrip to quote us, so we knew, and well, I don't want you to hold me to the exact number, but if I'm not mistaken, it was 1.9 million.
Yeah,
Almost
it's,
$2 million.
it's what I remember, $2 million.
I want to say it was just under 2.
Yeah, I remember that.
Why can we not ask the county if they could step up and give us an idea of what they would rebuild that road for?
There's nothing to say we couldn't.
Does the county do asphalt paving?
No, but they do the
The
preparation.
huge amount of the cost on that road is the road base, right?
Yeah.
So it would have to be removed and then rebuilt. That's one of the big issues. That road was never built to be paved. So it loses tremendous amount of gravel every year just into the base. It's not a proper base. So we added, oh man, I know the guys were just telling me, we added a tremendous amount of gravel to that before we oiled it to build it up again. But yeah, it's going to do the same thing to the base. I wish I could tell you it was otherwise, but it's not. It's dust abatement on gravel road.
So if the county come in and break it down and build a quality gravel road,
Yeah, the one thing we've talked to Mike out there a little bit about before, the issue they have is the same as ours, is they have a short construction season, and they have a lot of specific county priorities. So to say they could free up a crew for 6 weeks and all their machinery may be misplaced, I think they would have some real concerns with that. It's not to say the question can't be asked again. We did talk to Mike about it a while out there, and they're always willing to help. We use their packer to pack that. They sent their packer out, and we use that, and of course they're very cooperative that way. But the expense is huge because we'd have to take that road out about a block at a time if we built it.
well, I think it's something that we should very seriously look at.
Well, we have to look at the financial plan and see if it fits budget down the road somewhere. It's a lot of money when we have the creek to take care of right now. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank
But
you.
you're right, if it's oiled properly, it will look better. Right now it's a little rough.
Yeah, no, it was put down so there are those with Heritage Days coming up, and it'll be worked again. It's something that the type of product is you work it on occasion. It's not a permanent hard top. You grade it up, you spread it out, you pack it again, you grade it up, you
Yeah.
spread it out. So,
But sometimes you can throw money away for bad.
yeah,
You
no
know, and we
question.
constantly keep upgrading this and dust abatement and quarrying it.
What's it costing us to do that right now?
Yeah, you know, it all adds up.
Pardon me?
And-
30 grand? I would-
$30,000?
So
Every 2
$30,000
years.
compared to $2 million.
No, that's for dust abatement only.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's every 2 years. But every year, we're on that road at least twice or 3 times.
This year's probably a little bit more because we used a ton of crushed gravel lines.
Yeah,
So the oil abatement material was, I think, I want to say about 30,000 if I recall, but we used a lot of our stockpile gravel too. We built that up a lot this year. So it's probably pushing, we probably spent $45,000.
I mean,
Even at
we'll have to look
$50,000,
at.
that's a lot of years to get to 2 million.
And, you know, again, this is a larger debate too about the expectation of roads within the urban center. Is the expectation that they're all paved? Is the expectation that every road is paved? And I'm not sure that's a fair expectation. It is of some citizens, no question. We have some residents who feel that every road should be, but when you're undeveloped still, the area is undeveloped largely. Now that's a bypass road, so you can make an argument that the traffic's a little different, but you look at 7th Avenue that tees off to 12th. There's a real debate there about what that road condition should be now. If it should be paved or if it should be gravel road. You have very sparse development on it. You don't have utilities put in and connections all the way down that road yet. So, yeah, I don't know where I come out on all that, but
well,
And
like
when we
I
looked
said,
at the improvement levy with those
like I said,
residents that were not
if we're spending
interested.
40 to 50,000 a year, and the county can come in and do a road for us for 180,000, you know, that's 3 or 4 years.
I mean, if they can do it for
If
that
they
price.
build it up to the grass level.
Well,
to the
those
proposed gravel level.
are all things that administration can
Check into.
check into with Murray.
We gotta triple the density around here first,
Yeah.
according to the province.
Okay, well, we have
Thank you.
enough infrastructure to double the population anyways.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, so we need to go to correspondence. There is one item in here that may be of interest to you, is item A, action on smoking and health. How do we want to address the issue of secondhand smoke at events in our community? Essentially, people can smoke if they so wish, but what happens when you are at public events? There are more and more towns that are disallowing smoking within the close proximity of events so that children are not affected. We do not have a policy in place at all at this point. What we can see from these letters that we received is that Edmonton, Calgary, Lethbridge, Taber, to name the largest centers, have already accepted to put that policy in place to protect the youth. And I'd like to know, are you interested for administration to look into drafting a policy, or do you prefer to leave it open due to the nature of mixed population? Let me know.
What's the difference between, when you say mixed population?
Well, we have at our events some that really enjoy smoking on the premises, and we have...
They enjoy smoking in a restaurant too, but they can't do it.
Right.
This is a public place we're talking about.
No,
But it is
for
outdoors.
example,
Mhm.
talk about fireworks, people line up on the top of the hill.
Mhm.
Half of them smoke, half of them don't, but those who don't have to live in that smoky environment while they're trying to enjoy a public event, a public celebration. So is that something, and children who are with us have that secondary smoke, which we know is much more dangerous than smoking yourself. So I'd like to know what's your opinion. Do you want to tackle it at this point, or do you prefer to let it be? And is that a wise thing to do?
I was looking at this little grid or checklist of forget what communities do what. And I hate to be the, community that's the last one. I just remember hearing people saying, because we I guess we're viewed as an LDS community, sometimes we hold ourselves back from things like, like smoking in public buildings. We were, this was a comment that was given that we were the last one to actually do it when the province actually mandated it all over the province. And I think we could be a little bit more progressive, at least move in that direction and maybe look at some areas where we could. In fact, I thought we did in some playgrounds actually. Didn't we at one time make some restriction on smoking in the playground? I think we did.
Have to look into it. I'm not aware of stuff.
Okay. No. I'm thinking it wouldn't be a bad idea to at least start some movement in the direction of the way that the province is going, and so that we're not the last one to.
So am I hearing that you would view administration trying to draft a policy with certain area as being something
Mayor,
worthwhile looking at?
what is the next town questionnaire will be sent out for surveys?
January, February.
Could we add that question into that survey? I'm in favor of the town council drafting a bylaw for smoking, non-smoking areas. Let the public speak to us.
I don't know. I look at the communities who are restricting,
It's a policy.
they've got policies, for their outdoor spaces, and some of them are pretty big centers.
Yes,
And so I don't see why we don't. I get annoyed when I'm sitting at a football game or something like that and somebody starts puffing away. I don't like it. I don't like the smoke.
My wife is very, very sensitive.
Lots of people are sensitive to it.
And has a difficult time with it. That said, and she's going to hate me for saying this, but I don't know that in an outdoor environment, I'm not sure that I like the idea of restricting. I don't want it, for me personally, I don't want it there, but I'm hesitant.
Lethbridge, on this grid, Lethbridge is unique in that it's the only one that regulates at playgrounds but doesn't care about sports fields. In every other case, if they're doing playgrounds, they're also doing sports fields. So I mean,
and I'd be more supportive of that.
Right.
Okay, so it could be limited and a little bit of a softer approach. Yeah. Okay, is that something that
one of our hotels also already is smoke-free, so.
Okay. So would you want administration to try to draft a policy for us? Yeah. Okay. Well, Jeff, if you don't mind trying to see what we can do with that. Okay, go ahead.
I just wonder if we want to give the administration some direction in the the areas we would like to move. Do we want it like on playgrounds or one of the things I was thinking of, Councillor Barf's comment, like if you're sitting on a bunch of bleachers, you're kind of in close proximity, and maybe that's an area where
and that might be considerably more supportive of that environment. As opposed to walking across the field.
Okay, so in other words, if you're on bleacher,
The football games.
if you're sitting on a bleacher, be careful that you don't.
that we prohibit
But
smoking
yeah,
in certain
on-
areas where
on
people are
bleachers,
packed
yeah.
together
All right.
in an area.
So that makes sense to me, because you've got a concentration of people there.
Does it help, Jeff? Thank you. Okay, 7B is Alberta Culture and Tourism, an invitation to host 2018 Summer Winter Game. But in all truth, we do not have the amenities to be able to do such a big event. It's really summer game. We can do some, but we can't really do.
Just commenting on that, at Alberta Southwest, one of the municipalities, I forget which one, but they just hosted it. And normally you hear, oh, we regret it, we didn't get enough volunteers, it was a headache, it was a nightmare. She had nothing but good to say about it. She said it was a huge boost to their whole,
Yeah.
it was a
Oh,
great
It
property.
is a boost. The only trouble is if you don't have the amenity, the hotel and all that in town, it's difficult to host such
You
a
may be
thing.
talking about Claresholm.
Must be.
So the difference here though is we could host the Southern Alberta Summer Games.
Yeah.
We
and
cannot
that's
host the,
okay.
we don't have the capacity for the
The Alberta,
provincial
Yeah.
summer.
we don't have the.
Yeah.
That, I totally agree, and I think that was a very positive thing for Claresholm.
Yeah.
And our turn is coming. But this
And-
one is looking at the provincial one.
Yeah, yeah. So thank you for the clarification. 6, Alberta Minister of Health and Senior letters every grant in lieu of taxes. Councillor Pivoy, if you remember, you asked that we send a letter, and as you can see by the response, they're considering.
It's also an AUMA resolution.
Yeah, they're considering, and I'm glad we're moving in that direction. Alberta Municipal Affair regarding the MSI allocation. Do you know something? I'm very, very pleased that you gave me the okay to write that letter. When that letter was taken to the Tabor Mayors and Reeve, it had tremendous effect. Not only the MLA were there, but 63 mayors approved it, and then within their own local organization, regional organization, wrote a letter on behalf of their own local group of mayors and Reeve. And that went to the government, and MLA Hunter told me that we created the right pressure to have the announcement not delayed to after the election. So I thought, well, small ripples and big effect.
When do we get the money?
The money has been the same money that the previous government had given us the allocation for. It's the same amount of money that we will receive. In other words, we already have spent that money, but that's beside the point. We know it's coming. So that is already one good sign. The only trouble that it has caused us that we could not reinvest our long-term fund at this point. We had to keep it to be able to pay the bills. And so we're losing the interest, but thank goodness the interests are low, so we're not losing too much.
I'll move that we extend the meeting to 7:15.
Thank you. All right. All in favor? Thank you.
My question on that, it didn't show what we received the previous year. Are we in a downward trend on MSI still, or are we leveled out?
Okay. The, yes and yes.
No, this, so,
Go
yes
ahead.
and yes is the right answer.
Yes.
So, if you recall,
The operating in 2015 was from the previous government the last year that we were
Yeah.
going to receive it, the last 90,000 votes.
but the capital is actually almost half of what the 2014-15 allocation was, but if you'll recall, they gave us $400,000 right at the end of the 2014-15.
Right.
So when we took that money plus our 2015-16, it's the same as what it was the year before.
Yeah.
But technically, it's far less.
It's half.
Yeah, technically
Next
it's
year could be in the operating zero if we carry on with the
Yeah.
trend.
Yeah.
And with the capital might be half of what we had between what we got before December,
Yeah.
before March, and after March.
Wasn't
If
it?
that makes
And
sense.
fix all these
And
problems?
that would be stable and predictable funding.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
There might
So
be half.
that is totally stable and predictable.
Unstable and unpredictable.
So to answer your question, we have the same amount as we did the past fiscal year, but it's because we got extra in the past fiscal year that we
Yeah.
put in our pocket waiting for the announcement of this year that ended up coming out much lower.
So
So we were
Councilor
okay.
Bangry, the $2 million road is a little hard to pay with the down spiraling MSI. As
I think
much
that
as
would be
we like.
addressed at the AUMA.
Yeah, but,
Okay.
yeah.
Topic.
All right, Alberta Recycling, awarding of grant for waste runoff. We got $3,000 to be able to have a site somewhere in coming months to run up paint, electronics, and batteries? No.
Paint, electronics, and
Help me, what is the third
paint,
one?
am I forgetting?
Chemicals.
Paint,
Hold on, let me grab
no,
that.
no, it's not
Chemical,
chemicals,
Funding
no.
request.
It was electronics, battery maybe?
Something.
No.
That might just be those.
Should just be paint and electronics.
There were three.
E-waste and
Paint,
paint.
electronics.
Yeah, e-waste and paint.
That's all I got.
That's all I got.
Oh, there's two?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we already have a way to dispose of electronics. What we need is to set up bins to be able to put paint. And it comes to a little bit of a cost to the town,
It's pretty minor.
but minor.
I'll try and do that in the next 60 days or so in fall.
Okay. Now, AUMA under 11F has also sent correspondence regarding the grants in lieu of taxes, but it's a little bit different from the response we got from the government. Their take is it's a given that they're going to give us back the money, and the government saying, well, not exactly so, we're considering. So I'm not so sure if you got further information.
I emailed AUMA and said, you have a letter dated July 17th saying that the province has agreed to extend the grants in lieu of taxes for 2 years. I said, I then have a letter from the province dated 3 days later saying, thanks for asking, we'll consider it in the fall as part of budget. And so AUMA sent me an email back saying, we'll have somebody get a hold of you. I haven't heard it from them yet. So I don't know if that's forthcoming or not just yet. But it seems somewhat conflicting. But I did inquire to AUMA as to what they mean by continue with the transfers, whatever their phrase is in there.
Yeah.
And I'm told I'll have someone contact me soon.
All right, thank you. On the 11G, we have AUMA conference resolution. I really think as a council, we need to become quite cognizant of those resolutions. We might even talk a little bit on that at our CCW in September. Could you maybe put this there and we could try to see which one are concerned for us or which one we would approve. On 11H, Canadian Wireless Communication Association, they're soliciting for drop-off location in community. We already have one, that's Silverwater, am I correct? Yeah, for the phones, handheld phones.
So we'll need another.
No. 11I, Nora Smith, thank you cards for her retirement party. And 11J, Saskatchewan River Basin, and newsletter for your information. So, as to council agenda, we are done. We now,
We should run in
Talk
camera.
about
no,
the parade and
that's for. Okay, we didn't add it. Can we maybe talk just after the meeting? We'll talk about it.
Either do it now before you go on camera or
Okay,
just
all right. So,
informally discuss it later.
Councillor Brown was saying maybe we need to organize ourselves to go to the Lethbridge Parade. First of all, to find out who is going, so they need to know what kind of, if they need to take the trolley or
Tuesday, the 18th.
Tuesday's the 18th. So who is able to go? We are, Councillor Edmonds is not able to go. So
Okay,
what
sorry.
we also need to know is if you're coming with your wives or not.
Shit,
No?
My wife would ride
No.
up to the Carson Parade. You think she's gonna go to Lethbridge?
Councillor Peabody, are you going to be there or
I don't
not?
think I
No.
take the 18th.
No, okay. Councillor Barnes? Okay, Councillor,
I could.
your wife is going to come?
If
No.
you want her to.
Well, I don't know, it's up to you, it's not a requirement.
No,
I think my wife's babysitting.
Okay, all right, so is 1, 2, 3, Councillor Bangry? Okay,
Just one, just
okay, so
One,
it's
one, one.
four of us.
Councillor Barfus?
Yep.
So 5?
1, 2, 3,
Are you
4,
going to be
5
there?
of us.
Five. Okay, so My husband may come, but if there is no space, don't worry, we'll drop him off somewhere.
You can, by the way,
Okay,
by the way,
thank you.
report, if you ever get a chance to stand up parade and do it, it was fun.
All right.
It was a hoot.
So, are we ready to
I can move to go into
go in
camera.
camera? Thank you. All in favor? Thank you. Shouldn't take us too long.
Thanks, Corey.